Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so a bit of a bonus video this week. I thought what I would do is go over my my whole process for capturing, editing, and posting my videos. I have been asked in the past how I do this, what my process is. Now, don't get me wrong, no one's asked recently, so I'm not going to try to sit here and say that someone just asked about what my setup is like, but it has happened in the past. So I thought I'd go over it because it has changed significantly. Actually, just recently, it's changed quite a bit, and it's definitely changed a lot since the last time I did one of these. So I just thought I would go over it. I don't have any kind of script written for this, so bear with me. I do tend to ramble a little bit when I'm kind of working off the cuff. Hopefully I'll try to keep it short and concise, but bear with me if I ramble some. Just is how I am. What you're seeing here, I thought we're going to start with the capture part. And what you're seeing here is a pictographic representation of my system. So, the goals of this whole system, one of the primary goals really, is to be able to record from either the PC, the PlayStation 4, or the PlayStation 5 without having to rewire a bunch of stuff every time I want to switch back and forth between them. I find that if you're having to move wires around and cables and connections and everything, the more moving parts you have, the more likely something's going to go wrong. And if you're moving cables around, eventually they're going to break. Let's just be honest, and that's not good. A second goal is to be able to see and hear everything that you guys are seeing and hearing, which has not always been the case with my setups. So that was a kind of a secondary goal for me. I have in the past, like I said, that's not always been the case. It used to be with my old setup, I was hearing a different channel than you guys were hearing, and that did lead to problems sometimes. If something glitched, driver crash or something like that, and the sound wasn't coming through, I didn't know about it until I went to edit. The way this is set up now, I'm hearing exactly what you guys are hearing, so if something goes wrong, I will know about it in real time, and I can fix it before the video is totally finished. So yeah. Anyway, this is my setup. Let's go over the hardware aspects just a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see the cursor okay. So we've got my PC, my PS4, and my PS5 all sitting here. The key to this setup is this right here, the HDMI switch. So basically, we'll start off with just kind of the basic setup. So I've got my PC here. The PC has feeds from the video card out through the DVI to monitors 1 and 2. I have two dual monitors set up. Monitor 2 is my primary monitor. I just got them labeled 1 and 2 just to keep them in order because that's how my OCD works. but my primary monitor is monitor 2. That's the one that I look at most of the time. And then from the PC, well, okay, I won't talk about sound just at the moment. If this was my only setup, I would not have any sound, right? There's nothing here going to the speakers from the PC. So that's the primary way that I use it. I usually leave monitors 1 and 2 on the DVI inputs because it's the sharpest and clearest, and that's what I use for my day-to-day work and while I'm editing and stuff like that. Okay, so that's kind of the basic setup for the PC. Okay, so yeah, that's my basic computer setup. Now, for recording, what I do is I'll go from, so my video card has an HDMI output. HDMI, of course, captures both video and audio if you set it to do so. So I go from the video card where I've already got two DVI outputs going. I also have an HDMI output, and I go from the HDMI output to an HDMI switch. Same thing for the PS4 and the PS5. They'll both have HDMI outputs that go to the switches. So this switch right here is what I use to control what active machine that I'm going to be recording from. You'll see in a minute basically kind of how this works. Like I said, HDMI carries both audio and video output. So we go from the HDMI switch over to the audio video capture device, which for me is a Hauppauge Pro 60 something. It's one of the newer ones. This guy is capable of capturing at 4K resolution at 60 frames per second. And it will downsample the output down to, I think it's 1080p, or 1080p, sorry, at 60 frames per second, which is perfect, right? Because you want to be able to capture whatever resolution you're playing in, but then you don't want a huge resolution in the file. So it does all this in hardware, captures it. Then it goes from a USB port down into the back end of the PC, and that's the data that captures the sound and video to file through the software. So that's how it gets from. So the PC can be playing a game. It runs out through the HDMI. The HDMI goes to the AV capture. The AV capture goes back to the PC. Same thing if I'm running the PS4 or PS5. If I'm running the PS4, I'll switch the HDMI switch over to the PS4 setting. That HDMI will be active, and then that'll go to the capture, and it'll capture it down into the PC as a file. So that's how the audio and video gets to a file to you guys. The AV capture card actually has in addition to the USB port, a lag-free HDMI pass-through. Sorry, I just hit the thing there, which runs out to my monitor. And that's how I see what I'm able to do, right? I have to be able to see the game to play it, right? So if I switch the monitor away from DVI over to HDMI, I'm going to be able to see whatever's going through the AV capture card. And I see exactly what you guys are seeing when I do my recordings. So that's one of the goals that's met. We're now capturing exactly what you guys are seeing. So that's perfect. So yeah, that's basically the setup. The HDMI switch has another feature on it, which is a audio splitter, which is really nice because at this point, the way I've got this all set up, there's still no sound. You guys will hear it from the AV capture, right? But I would not be able to hear it. And I need to be able to hear the game sound or whatever I'm recording. So this has a stereo output. So I can run a stereo line from the HDMI switch out to the speaker box. And the speaker box then, of course, feeds all of my speakers, I have 7 speakers. I'd have to count them. But yeah, it feeds all the speakers. So yeah, that's how I get the sound. And you'll notice that it's from the HDMI. It is exactly the same sound that you guys are hearing, which again, as I said before, wasn't always the case when my previous setup. So it's really nice. If there's something going wrong, I will know about it before it gets to you guys, and I'll be able to fix it if there's no sound. You guys may remember in the past, I think it was in Batman Origins, I was doing some challenge maps or something, and there was no sound because although I was hearing it just fine, something had gone wrong in the system and the HDMI sound wasn't coming through for you guys. And I didn't know about it until I went to edit it. And by that time, it's too late. So that can no longer happen. I hear exactly what you guys are hearing. So it's all very nice. Okay, and that's the basic setup. As for the commentary input, of course, that goes through a mic that gets just a USB line straight into the PC. It has nothing to do with anything else. So that's captured in a totally different piece of software, which I will show you guys in a minute. The one other tricky bit to this, not really tricky, but the one other thing to realize is that the speaker box is going to go run out to the speakers, obviously. You do not want to have the game sound, this game sound right here through the speakers, hit the mic, right? The mic is supposed to be reserved exclusively for my commentary sound or any room sounds that might be happening. You do not want the game sound into that mic. That's why you see... that's why you see Let's Players use headphones all the time, because you want to isolate those sounds. This should be exclusively my voice in a separate file, and any sound that's in the room. And this game sound should be captured by the by this guy right here. So of course the speaker box has a headphone line, as they all do, right? And so as soon as I hit this speaker box into the headphone line, these of course turn off, and so you don't get sound bleeding through the microphone. So that's what that's all about. Anyway, so that's my hardware setup. That's how I basically do the setup for the game. So I'm going to delete this this line. So yeah, that's how things work in that respect. Now, in order to capture the this bit, the AV capture, and also the USB microphone capture, there's two different pieces of software that I use. I'm going to try to bring this over so you guys can see it, although I found that the Hauppauge capture software sometimes has trouble when switching screens. So let's see how this works. Okay, it seems to have come over okay. So that's the Hauppauge capture. This run right here is what captures this. So this is the software that feeds, or the HDMI feeds, and it sends it off as a file through the USB system. So I'm going to put this back. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Okay, seems to be okay. It might give me trouble in edit because it does have trouble when it switches screens like that. The microphone, on the other hand, I just simply use this program, Audacity. I think just about every Let's Player uses this, or I don't know if they all use it, but I think a lot of them do. It's a perfectly great program. It's completely free, and yeah, it does a lot of really good stuff. So definitely worth using. So anyway, that's the software that I use. Those two pieces of software. The Hauppauge capture software captures, of course, the video and the game audio. The Audacity software captures the the microphone USB port. So there you go. So we end up with two different files. And if let's see, if I pull this over, hang on just a second here, guys. Let me show you one of these. Let me bring this over. So this is the God of War. You can see my game recordings right here. This is all the current game playthroughs I've got going. So I record as TS files. So if we take a look at the raw footage, which is where the default this is the default directory where the Hauppauge software captures to. You can see I am currently capturing as a TS file. The Hauppauge software does have the capability of capturing directly to MP4, and I'm going to be converting to MP4, which kind of begs the question of, well, if you're going to convert to MP4, why are you capturing in TS? Why don't you just record directly in MP4? I tried that before and I got burned by it. My experience is that the TS files almost always capture really, really nicely and smoothly. Whereas that's not necessarily the case with MP4. MP4 can be glitchy if you try to capture in it, at least with my old system. I haven't really tried it with the new Hauppauge capture card. But I'm a little bit gun shy about doing it. So I don't mind. I capture in TS. TS always seems to work. I mean, unless there's something seriously going wrong, the TS files are always fine. And then I can convert them over to MP4s and they're fine. So, yeah. So yeah, that's the hardware system and the file system that we get. I should say the Audacity holds all of its data. It doesn't actually drop it to file until you stop and you export after the recording's over. So there's no file to see until after I finish. But if we go to, like, say, God of War, you can see these are the files that I get out of the Audacity ultimately. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of the system that we get. So we end up with a TS file and we end up with a WAV file at the end of the whole thing. So let me talk about editing. So this is new for me, this system. So when I switched over from the old Hauppauge, which was starting to die on me, to the new Hauppauge, which is the new one that I got probably about less than a month ago now. What I discovered was that my old software, which was VideoPad Video Editor, didn't really like the new system. Now, I've used VideoPad Video Editor for many years. I find it to be okay. It takes a while to get a working workflow, and I've had to play with it quite a bit. And when I changed the hardware and found that the VP didn't like it, and I was having issues, I just couldn't bring myself to have to go through a bunch more versions of that software trying to find a workflow that worked. Basically, I mean, I don't mean to say anything bad about it. I used it for years. It was fine. It was buggy in some respects. It didn't work. It caused me some issues sometimes. But I made it work. But I really kind of just had it with with VideoPad Video Editor. I just couldn't deal with trying to find another workflow for it. So I switched over to Adobe. So I'm going to bring that up. I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro now. So let's go ahead and just pull in a new project, and let's just do, I've already done God of War for this week, but I'll pull in God of War. We'll select that folder. We'll just do, we'll call it a new project. We'll just say, and we'll just leave everything alone. This is a little more, this is what I'm saying about the DVI versus the HDMI. The HDMI, when you're trying to work with text and stuff, is kind of a little bit blurry for me. It doesn't really love super fine stuff like this. That's why I work in DVI, because this is a little bit hard for me to see. Anyway, so we have various workspaces here. I've set up my own custom workspace. It's very similar to the editing workspace, really. The editing workspace looks like this. It's basically got a large source area, the programs stuff, the project stuff, along with various things down here, and then the timeline. This is fine. I mean, I could use this. The effects controls are here. I mean, everything is here. But for me, it's just there's stuff here that I really don't need, that I found. I've created my own custom workspace. Basically, it's got the project over here, the source panel, which I almost never use, actually. I could probably take this out. It's got the program panel over here, the timeline over here, and then I've got the progress bars down here in case I need to watch the progress bars. So the first step in editing for me is going to be the conversion of the TS files. I will bring over the last God of War TS file that I have, which was recorded on June 5th, 2021. And I'll pull it in. So this is the TS file. The only thing that I really do with this is I pull it down into the timeline. And so there it is. And we can increase the size so we can see what we're doing. But I really don't do anything with this. The only thing I do is I immediately hit Control M to bring up the exporter. And basically leave the output name alone, although I've got to make sure that the it's pointed to the right directory. No. So because I've already done this, I'm just going to put a -2 in. It already exists. Okay. Yeah, that's right, because I had to redo it for reasons. Let's just do A. Christ's sakes, guys, just do it. Okay. So basically, I just leave everything alone. Make sure the output's okay. We're going to the right directory. We're doing 1920 by 1080. 1.0 means the pixels are square, basically. 60 frames per second, and then that's all there is to that. You'll come down here. You can see the estimated file size is about 5 gigabytes. That's about right for a 1 hour video that I usually do. And that's all there is to it. Then I just hit export and let it export, and that'll export it to an MP4 file. The reason I don't directly edit the TS files is because I found they're a little slow. When I'm trying to do editing, and playback mode the playback mode has to be snappy and fast and able to be used. And the TS files, they'll be fine at first, but as I start putting in edits and I start messing around with stuff, I found that it doesn't take very many edits for it to start slowing down the playback. And I can't edit that way. If I hit the space bar to tell it to stop, it needs to stop like right now. It can't keep going for half a second. It has to stop. And I've had it not do that before. So the TS files I have found really should be converted over to MP4 files before you start editing. And if you do that, it's perfectly fine. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop this because we don't need to do this. I'm going to clear this out. So we'll just take out the files, and I'm going to take out the timeline as well. So let's assume that we just edited, or we just converted that file over, and we now have an MP4 of that file, which this is. I would then pull this in, and I would also pull in the WAV file. Now the WAV file, I can't really show these to you because I'm using Audacity right now, unless I can pull up another version of Audacity. Can I do that? No, it's not going to let me. So what I do with, I mean, like I said, I can't really show it to you guys, but I will process these before they go into Adobe. And that's what these files are, this WAV versus the proc file. Basically, all I do is do a noise reduction on the file. You just have to pick a section of the file where there's no talking. Tell it this is what noise looks like. This is the background hum, just the room noise, maybe the traffic noise outside that's going to occur. That's not me talking. And then once you've taught Audacity that, you can then apply that noise reduction to the entire file. It'll kill some of that noise, and then you resave it out. And that's what that means. The proc means processed. So I do that before I bring them in because Audacity is really good at noise reduction. And so you might as well give Adobe Premiere a nice clean file to work with. So then I bring that in. So what we have here, this is the audio and video for the game, right? And there's the audio, or there's the video, there's the audio. That's the game audio. So if we come down here, you guys can probably hear, should be able to hear. It might be a little quiet. But there you go. Okay, that's the audio, or the audio and video for the game itself. This file is my commentary file, so we'll pull that down as well. And we'll make that a little bigger so we can see. I'm going to pull this up a little. All right, so this is me talking. So if I solo this, see if I can get a point to me where I'm talking. Reduces all damage from dark elves by 12%. So let's equip that. So there you go. I like it. All right. Sorry, that was really loud. I'll fix that in post. Go to sockets on this guy as well. Sorry, let me turn that off. Okay, so now you've got your basic files in. Now it's just a matter of editing the file. And let me show you let me show you what I do. I'm going to zoom in towards the front end of the file, and somewhere in here, probably towards the front, probably right here. Down, down, down. Right. So what am I doing right here? Down, down. Let's listen to that for a second. Down, down. Up, up, up. Okay. What am I doing there? We need to sync the audio to the video. Very important, right? You know, this is step one, basically, of the thing. So what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to solo the game sound because the menu itself makes noise. So you may not be able to hear it because I don't have it turned up. You might be able to hear it by the time I do the edit on this, but you can see these bumps. That's the menu sound, right? So let me zoom in on that a little bit more. And this last one is usually the one that I use most commonly. So what I do is I find the point in the video where that menu, where is it? There it is right there. Jumps up. And then I take a look at the sound. Now look at that. That's pretty much spot on. Sorry. I hate when I do that. Basically, it's right there at 11.3. The sound starts maybe just a scooch early at 11.28. And it goes at, what did I say, 11.34. I could try and fix that. I mean, we could. Unlink. Really, honestly, guys, it's not necessary. That's a fraction of a second. You're never going to be able to tell. But if you wanted to fix it, you could. So I'm going to put the click kind of right there where it's at. And that's what that's for. And then I usually go back and make sure everything makes sense in case I'm using the wrong something or other. But and there you go. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. It's possible you may not be able to hear it, but yeah. Then there's this. Okay.
Up, up.
So we'll solo my voice.
Up.
I also want to make sure that my voice is synced to the game as well. And that's what I'm doing when I'm doing the down, 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 up, 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 is I'm making sure I've got a marker. Let's zoom in on that a little bit, where my voice can match up to something that I'm seeing on the screen. And I'll just drop that a little bit. And I mean, it's fine. It's within a fraction of a second. It's not going to make any difference whether it's perfectly on or not. There's a limit to how much you can move these things. There's a frame rate limit. It's, it's going at 60 frames per second and it's capturing, I think the sound is capturing 48,000 hertz or something. So, it's not infinitely smooth. There's spots that it can hit and can't hit to a certain extent, but it's definitely smooth enough for our purposes here. Anyway, usually again, I will make sure that makes sense.
Down, down, down.
That it's linked up with what it's
Up,
doing here.
Up, up.
And very nice. Okay, so we can fast forward to where I start talking, which is going to be right here.
Hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
There you go. At this point, I'll set the marker where I start talking. Everything should be synced up. Sometimes, actually, guys, I will go back to towards the back of the video, find something near the back that I can sync the sound to. There's usually some sort of menu thing right there. So let's solo that. I have found with the new hardware that it is not necessary to sync the back end anymore. With the old hardware, it sometimes was. Sometimes it would get off by a quarter of a second after an hour's worth of recording. Now, you can't just move it because you've already moved the front end. And if you move it, the front end will go back off again. So what you have to do, if this is off, in this case, it's not, right? This is bouncing. That's the change right there. And that's the sound. If you wanted to fix, it might be just slightly off. Maybe again by a fraction of a second. If you wanted to fix that, what you have to do is right click on this and do a speed duration change. And you can change any one of these numbers. Now, the way I used to do it was I'd see where, let's just cancel that. I'd see where the sound should be, which in this case is right there. So 3.0636. And then where it is, 6.39, and then subtract those off. And that's the amount this has to be adjusted by. In this case, you have to actually reduce it. You want the sound to be reduced. So then once you know, like say it ends up being 0.25 seconds. In fact, let's go ahead and do it. I'll put this in. So I want a negative number here, right? So we're going to put in 6.35. And I want to subtract off from there 0.39, 6.39. So it's 0.04 seconds off. So in order to fix that, what you do is you right click on this, you do a speed change. Where'd it go? There it is. And Unfortunately, this is in a bad spot because I want to change this to 658. You want to take 0.04 of a second off of that, and it's going to cause this to go to 658. I think is right. And there you go. It just pushed it back. And see, it's spot on right now. And so what it'll do now, doing a speed change like that. Did I change the? Yeah. Make sure you have the maintain audio pitch off. Otherwise, it's just going to move it as if you moved it, and you don't want that. It will change the audio pitch, but 0.04 of a second across an hour-long video is beyond negligible, so you don't have to worry about it. So it's going to change it over the course of an hour. It's going to change the length of the audio by 0.04 of a second, which is going to have absolutely no effect on the front end, but at the back end, by the time you get back here, it's 0.04 of a second different than what it was. If you go to the very back, you can't even see it. But if you looked closely, you might be able to tell that this is slightly closer. And if I zoom in on that, maybe I can actually get it to come in. It's a little bit difficult. No, I've maxed it out, and you still can't even really see it. I'm not in. It might have actually left this out here and stuck this in right here. That might be what that is. You see, there's no sound right there at that very last little bit. So I think maybe that's what's going on. But anyway, so that's the sound. So again, as I was starting to say, I would now come over here. We're at 129.13. I usually like to have about a 2-second lead in, so we're going to go to 127.13. Right there. And then I'm just going to cut this off. We'll select these and just delete them. I'll right click and do a ripple delete, and that pushes it back, and there you go. There's the front end done. So basically, yeah, this is the software that I use. This is my sort of my process. I would then start the video, and I've got the solo on.
Okay, so you remember from last time we have...
And start edit. Actually, no, I take that back. What I would do now is actually deal with the sound. So we have the game sound. We have the commentary sound. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom all the way out. And I'm going the wrong way. Let's zoom out so I can see the whole thing. This is the commentary sound. I'm going to take this track. I'm going to grab it. We're going to go to the audio tab, and I'm going to classify this as dialogue. And this is going to bring up a number of, I don't know what you would call it, a number of effects that you can apply to that. So let's zoom back in again, and let's get a bit where I'm talking. We'll just start here and go.
Hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
Okay,
so you remember...
Let's stop that for a second. First of all, loudness. Let's talk about loudness. Really, the thing here is auto match. So there might be bits in this where I'm talking too softly or too loudly. Auto match is going to try to normalize everything a little bit so that everything comes through at the same relative volume. It's not going to be exactly the same. You don't want it to be exactly the same, but you don't want huge jumps in volume or huge drops in volume. So I'm going to auto match this, and this takes a second. So we're just going to wait for that to come through. It doesn't take very long. There you go. And you just, if you were watching, you notice some of this fell.
Hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
Now, in my experience, generally what this does is it drops the sound. So it's a little bit more quiet, but that's fine. Let's pop open the repair thing.
Welcome back to God of War.
Let's have this running.
Okay,
and I'm going to turn on reduce noise.
We've come into all fine.
And I'm going to actually drop this down to a level of about 4.
Explored the lake a little bit.
I'm going to reduce the rumble.
The bridge has been disabled by that twisty thing.
Hang on, we'll let me just go back a little bit. I'm going to show you the D.
Okay, so you remember from last time we have come into Alfheim and
This one.
basically
You can tell this really screws with the sound, so I don't usually use that. But I DS it as well. That just kind of takes out some of the harshness, the rumble, and if there's any, like if I hit the mic, this will help take that out. Reduced noise is just like Audacity's reduced noise. It's the same idea, just a little bit more noise reduction. DS, if there's any harsh S's, it'll remove those. This one, I'm not 100% sure what it does, so I don't really mess with it because it doesn't actually sound good. You can reduce the reverb. I find that I don't need to do that. So yeah. Now,
hey guys, welcome back.
It's very quiet, so I'm going to turn on clarity. This is going to take a second for it to analyze the sound a little bit. And this is where we're going to bring up the sound to a little bit higher of a volume so you guys can hear it.
Hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
So I find...
Okay, so you remember from last time we have come into Alfheim and basically...
Right around level 7. So it's...
Hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
You can hear it fine, right? Hopefully you can hear it fine. I also turn on the EQ and I switch over to a podcast voice. This is the one that I found that I like the best. So again, let's turn it off for a second.
Hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
And then I'm going to turn it on in just a second.
Okay, so you remember from last time we have come into Alfheim.
You guys hear this difference?
And
this brings a little bit more richness, a little bit more warmth to the voice. So yeah. And that's about it, guys. I don't really mess with anything else. I mean, you can change the quality of the room that you're in. I find I don't need to do that, so I don't really bother with the reverb. And you can do the clip volumes down here as well, but I find using the focus actually does that fine. So,
hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
The reason I do the audio first, gang, is because I need to be able to hear, like if there's any background noise, sometimes I'll miss it if I don't do that audio first. So I can really bring up the voice volume and hear what's going on with the voice. If there's cars going by, I won't hear them unless I do this first. That's why I'm doing it first thing. So that's the first thing I do. I'm going to go back out again. And I'm going, once again, for some reason, wanting to hit the plus key instead of the minus key. We're going to turn that off. You can see you can actually select dialogue just by hitting the dialogue button. But if you select nothing, it'll bring that up. I'm going to select this track, and I'm going to call this music. For right now, and now obviously this isn't music, but we're going to treat it like it is because it has all the settings that I need that I want to apply to this. For right now, the only thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull open loudness and I'm going to auto match this as well. So again, it's the same thing as the auto matching for my voice. If there's any massive highs or massive lows, it'll kind of smooth them out so that it's not quite so jarring. So yeah, we'll wait for this to come through. And there you go. And if you were watching this thing, you probably saw it probably dropped. My feeling is it usually drops.
Hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
Well, let's see. Let's get some sound. Like there's some sound blocks here on him. I'm doing a fight of some sort. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to do something else to the sound later on, but not right now, which is ducking. But I'm not going to do that now. I found that if it's not useful to do ducking before you do your actual editing. So yeah, basically we're done with the sound for right now. This whole thing is ready for editing. So what I would do at this point is I would just come back to the beginning, zoom in. I usually like to get about 20 seconds or so on the timeline. I can't tell what that is. Is that? It's about 5 seconds. Yeah, that's a little bit too fast.
Hey guys, welcome back to God of War.
There you go.
Okay, so you remember from last time we have come into Alfheim and basically explored the lake a little bit and discovered that the bridge has...
Okay, so I'm just going to show you one real quick edit. Basically at this point I would just let it run and I would listen and watch and make sure that everything's in there that I wanted. Let's say I wanted to take out that
Basically explored the lake a little bit.
Right there. So What's nice about this program is it will, if you guys listen, if I stop talking, it will give you the sound as you scroll through the stuff. So you can hear as you're scrolling what's going on. So let's say I want to take out that I hit C. We're going to cut the thing right there. Past it, hit C again, or press hit it again. I'm gonna hit V to go back to my pointer, grab the offending file and cut it out. And then you guys will be able to hear, you should be able to hear.
And basically explored the lake a little bit and discovered that the bridge has been disabled by that.
And there you go. This is the reason why it's important to get a nice, good, solid noise reduction on your commentary, because if there was noise in the background and I cut that out and suddenly that if there was some kind of hum in the background that you could just you weren't really hearing, but you just kind of got used to, and then I cut out a piece and that hum went away for that section, it would be very jarring. It'd be very obvious that I cut something out there. But this one, you can't tell.
Explored the lake a little bit and discovered.
As far as you know, I just didn't say anything right there. So instead of umming that whole thing through, right? So yeah, that's how it's done. Basically, that's the edit. If I wanted to cut out a section, it's just pretty much the same process. You guys have already seen me do this. Let's just cut out a section in here. For some reason I wanted, like this especially happens in Red Dead Redemption 2, where I have to travel across land and I want to cut that out because you guys don't care about that. It's the same thing. You just delete the sections that you don't like. Now it's not going to automatically push those together. I think there's a way to do it, but I just do a ripple delete and it pulls it back together. And then boom, like that. And if I need to do a transition, I can go up here to my effects and we got a video transitions, and we can do a dissolve, and we can do a dip to black and throw that across the transition. And I can even set the duration. I usually like to do about 2 seconds. And my experience is you got to actually type all that in, otherwise it won't take it. And then you can see
let's do that.
Wait, combined together like that.
It goes through, although it kind of lagged a little bit. Let me see if I can. I find that when you first put them in, it takes them a second to
Okay, so let's do that.
process them. There you go. That was much smoother.
Combined together like that.
I don't fault Premiere Pro for that. Actually, VideoPad video editor did exactly the same thing. In fact, it would never recover usually. It takes a second for it to process it. So if you try to play through it too fast, it'll lag as it's trying to go through. But so yeah, there you go. That's how you do an edit. Let me go back to the project. I'm going to actually delete all this out. Let me open up. Let's close that project. I don't really need it. I'm going to open up the God of War edit that I did. I don't know if you guys are interested in the front and back ends. You guys, if you're watching this, you know my videos. I will put in some sort of teaser, which is what you're seeing right there for the video, which shows some interesting scene that's going to happen in the future during the video. And then we're going to have my intro come up, like so. And we're going to transition into the beginning of the game.
Hey guys.
There's nothing there that I don't think you haven't already seen. It's just a matter of bringing in the files, which is what this one is. To push there, this is just a matter of copying a file from somewhere in the final edit and pulling it into the front. Nothing tricky about that. The back end can get a little bit tricky. Let me show you how the back end works, because it actually can get a little bit, I don't know, it's interesting. If you're interested, watch. If you're not, then don't. So in order to do the back end, the way that I have this set up is I've got 3 different files. I've got a video file. It's called endcard video. Then we got endcard sound, and I've got the patron list. This actually is a little slightly misleading because actually there's sound along with this video as well. So I'm going to pull this in, and I'm just going to stick it on the back. You can see the sound is there. So if we play this.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second.
It's my standard outro, right? Along with this this dungeon that I built in, I think I built that in Unity. Just kind of a little test scene that I was doing. Anyway, so there's that. I will usually drop in, not usually, always, a video transition right there. We're going to do a dissolve, and I do a crossfade there. So we'll do a cross dissolve, cross there. Cross dissolves have to be at the beginning of the file for whatever reason. And again, I'll do a rather long transition here. Let's say 4 seconds. Is that what I'm doing now? I can't remember. So let's go ahead and check that out.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed
you can
this
see
video,
the cross
please
dissolve right there.
Comment, like, and subscribe. All
So
these
very
things
nice.
really help me out. I'd like to say.
So that's fine. The second, what are we in here? Why is that over there? Get back over where you're supposed to be. Did I accidentally move that? The second thing we need to bring in is the sound, which is basically just the music file. So I'll pull that in right there, and I line this up at the back so that it ends at the same time that the outro ends. And you'll see it overlaps, and that's entirely on purpose. Now, there's nothing in this video, right? It's just black. And in fact, that's actually quite destructive because
So I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.
as soon as it comes up, it's going to cover over everything else, right? It's on top, so it's going to cover everything. So what we're going to do is unlink that, and I'm just going to delete the video out because we don't need it. And actually, I can pull this up and pull that down. And just make sure it's still, oops, I grabbed the volume thing. Okay. And there you go. So now,
We are going to stop
as
here.
we come up towards the end of the video, the music
I'll be seeing you guys
comes
in.
in.
The next one. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching, guys. If
And
you
then we do a
enjoyed this
crossfade.
video, please take a second to comment, like, and subscribe.
The final thing we're going to do is the patron list. This is a separate file, and the reason it's a separate file is so that I can easily change it if necessary. If I get more or less patrons, I can actually come in here and modify that. So you see it comes in as both a video and audio. The reason for that, guys, is that these are MP4 files. You can't produce an MP4 file, at least not with the software that I was using, that doesn't have both audio and video. I wish I could, because then I wouldn't have to like sit here and take these out, but it's fine. I'll unlink that. We'll take out the audio. It doesn't necessarily need to be there. It doesn't hurt anything for it to be there, but it's not necessary, so I take it out. So there's your patron list. Now, we'll throw in an effect. I like to do a fade at the back. Probably not strictly necessary, but I like to have it in there. So you can see,
in the bottom left corner.
watch
Thanks a lot, guys,
the
and I'll see you in the next
thing and
video.
you'll see it fade out. Or it should fade out.
Bottom left corner. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.
There it went. I went a little bit too fast.
Thanks a lot, guys,
Watch
and I'll
it,
see you in
it'll
the next
fade.
video.
There you go. Now you'll see a problem.
Consider joining my list of patrons.
Once
There's a
again-
link on the screen in the bottom.
Oh, yeah, these end screens tend to lag a little bit. It's all black. It's covering up everything else. Now, of course, we want the text to show, but we don't want this black background to show. And so how we fix that is we simply go into video effects. We're going to do a color key. So I'll drop in a color key on top of this file. It's going to apply to the whole file. Then we're going to do an effect control. And I'm just going to, so you can see here, here's the color key. I'm going to grab the dropper and we're going to click on that. And you can see the black is now gone. So all that's left is the white text. And I have found that I like to pull the color tolerance over to about the middle. It shouldn't make any difference, but I found that if I don't, it can be a little bit off. So that's the final product, guys. If you take a look, it's a lot.
Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to comment, like,
It
and
comes in.
subscribe.
Now it
All
might
these
look a
things
little
really
bit
help me out.
grungy in
I like
here. As soon as I stop it, it should clean up. That's because I've got this set to 1/4, just as a way to keep the video playback nice and smooth. This actually plays back at 1/4 resolution rather than full resolution. So that's the only reason it's getting grungy. When it actually exports out, it's fine. It exports out at full resolution. If I set this to full, you wouldn't see that, but it might be a little bit laggy as we try to play.
Subscribe. All these things really help me
Yeah,
out. I'd
that's
like to say a
definitely
big thanks to all my patrons.
And in fact, I might not be able to stop it. But yeah, so I set it to 1/4. I find it doesn't make any difference as I'm watching this. It's too small of a preview thing to really make any difference. The only time I ever really see it is when I'm playing back to the end screen. And you'll see it kind of get grungy in here as I play this back.
Things really help me out. I'd like to say a big thanks to all my patrons whose names are appearing on the screen right now. Thanks a lot, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more great content, consider joining my list of patrons.
I'm trying to stop it. It won't stop. Okay, yeah. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about with lag. That can't happen when I'm trying to edit. Now, for the end screens, I don't really care because I can, they're only, I think this is 20 seconds long. If it doesn't want to stop, fine. Let it play through to the end. I don't really care. As long as it's working and I see that it's working, which it is, I don't care. But for this stuff, I have to have this playback smooth. I have to be able to come in here and say, play this back, and for it to stop when I tell it to stop, right? So anyway, there you go, guys. That's basically my process. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Oh, one other thing. Sorry. I almost forgot. I said once you're done editing, we want to do one other thing. I've already done it to this particular file, but if you go into audio and we go into music and you take a look, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so we can see the whole thing. I don't know why I keep wanting to hit the wrong button. Grab the music. Ducking. So ducking is a process by which you take one track and you duck it underneath another track. And all it means is that what I want is for the game sound to actually reduce when I'm talking. And hopefully you guys you don't really notice unless you're actually listening for it. And that's, if that's the case, then I've done it right, basically. But, so you can see I've got the music track, what I'm calling the music track, which is actually the game sound, all selected. Let's go ahead and bounce in here some, and let's find a good spot where we have game sound kind of at the same time as, it's not actually all that common because usually when there's a lot of game sound, there's I don't talk very much. So right now, this can be a little bit tricky. It's a little hard to see, which I am not. Okay, so you want the commentary sound to be above the game sound, right? And the way what I used to do was actually physically reduce the volume of the game sound all the way across that in the old software, because the old software didn't have this ducking capability. But this one does. So if you grab the music, which I just did, and you turn on ducking, you can see I've already got this set, but you can duck it against any other type of track. And this is one of the main reasons why you have to categorize your tracks. What I want to duck it against is the dialogue, which I've set to this. So I'm telling the music to duck against the dialogue, and it's just going to pull the volume down whenever I'm talking, and it'll pull it back up whenever I'm not talking. And it'll do this automatically. Now, I have found that I like to have the sense of these settings have already been set. So the default settings are like 6. It's back up here. I found bringing that down to about 5 is good. The default for this is 18. If you leave it 18, it's going to be really, really quiet. So I found cutting that in half. And sorry, I can't really see. Brings it down just enough so that it's underneath the talking, but it's not so quiet that you can't hear it. And then that's fine. Once that's ready to go, then you hit the generate keyframes. Now this takes a little while because it does have to go through whole sets of files. So you can see the blue bars. There's a bunch of them. More will probably pop up as it goes. And it takes about 3 to 5 minutes or so to do an hour-long video. So we'll let this go. And as soon as it's done, I'll cut back in. So just a second. Okay, guys. So it's still going. It's still getting. It has to do this separately for every time that I've cut into the thing. So it's doing separate clips, even though they're all called the same thing. This is a particular one that's already finished. And let me pull this up tall so you guys can really see what's going on here. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that line. You'll notice this line running across, and it goes down and up and down and up and down and up. You will notice that the downs correspond to where there are fields down here that are kind of being where I'm talking. And the ups correspond to where there's not so much noise. Now this is actually maybe just a little bit too sensitive because I can see yeah, it really, this down right here really shouldn't be catching this. This is just background noise. So I might want to turn that sensitivity down just a little bit more. It's a little bit too sensitive still. So I might try it down to 4 or something. But what you really want is for it to go up when there's no sound, when there's no talking, and down when there's talking. That's the, you can't stop me. Okay, can I line these up? So you can see the noise level has come down. Let's see if you can hear it. Like right in here, this might be a good spot. So let's listen here. You'll hear it kind of quiet in here. It'll come up and it should come down during this, whatever this peak is. Let me just get the 2. You guys hear the difference there? So the sound came down during there. Now, it really shouldn't have. Again, it's probably being a little bit too sensitive to whatever this is. I really only want it to go down when there's talking. And, you know, you got to find the right spot. I'm still experimenting with it, so I'm probably going to drop that down a little bit further than 5. Might drop it down to 4 or so. For the next video. I won't do it for this one. This one's probably fine. So yeah, it's just a matter of finding the right value. You got to play with it a little bit. But yeah, that's the whole point of ducking. Sound comes down when you want the volume of the voice to be over the top of the game sound. It comes back up when there's no talking involved. It's like you can see it here as well. So anyway, that's my process, guys. I think that's about it. Once that's done, of course, we just hit Control M. I export out to the name of the episode. It's just like the conversion, except I'm going from MP4 to MP4 instead of TS to MP4. So yeah. I hope that helps somebody. I hope that is informative. I'm relatively new to Premiere Pro. I've only been using it for a couple of weeks, really. So my process may evolve over time a little bit more. It's not necessarily set in stone as of yet. We'll see how it goes. I think I've got a pretty good workflow now at this point, so hopefully that helps you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. I will certainly answer them. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close this. We're not going to save anything because that's not useful. Okay, guys, one of the last thing I want to do today, and it's completely unrelated to what I've just talked about, so, you know, if you're not interested, you can stop. But I do want to do just a couple of shout-outs. I don't usually do shout-outs because I have patrons, and patrons pay for the privilege of getting shout-outs. They get shout-outs at the end of every one of my videos. They're either typed in or they're said by name if they're at a certain level. So it's a little bit not fair to them if I do shout-outs very often. So yeah, typically I won't do them, but there's a few things there's a few people that I want you guys to go pay attention to. If you're watching my channel, please do go check these guys out. I really would appreciate it. I'm sure they would love it. First of all, let me talk about Ever the Snake, a personal friend of mine, although we haven't talked in a while, but he and I and Tag all played Dying Light together. You guys might remember if you watched that episode. Go check out his YouTube channel. Now, I must admit, I do not watch a lot of his YouTube channel because it's in Hungarian and I don't understand Hungarian. But if you understand Hungarian, please do go check out his channel. Or even if you don't, go see what he has to play. I mean, he's only got a few subscribers. He needs more. Really great guy. I really like him, and you guys should definitely go check out all of his stuff. Please go do that. The second person I want to talk about is Melly Playful. Absolutely great YouTuber. She's got great content, but also a really good person. And she's shouted out my channel several times. You need to go check her out. I mean, she's got really good videos. I mean, if you take a look at her playlist, she tends to do usually shorter videos, very often, a few minutes long, but some of them can get up to, half an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. The thing that I'm kind of really watching right now is It Takes Two, which she did with Tengu, which is a multiplayer game. It's a 2-player game. And so I'm trying to watch through these. I'm way behind. I think I'm on episode 5. So, yeah, and I'm trying to watch them as I can. I think it ends with 21. But yeah, I've watched quite a bit of her stuff actually, and really, really good. Stuff in here that is a lot of fun. She does quite a bit of multiplayer stuff. First-person shooters, a lot of times you'll see on her channel. Yeah, just definitely go check it out. She does some adventure games. So yeah, go check into Melly, please. And if you like her, do subscribe to her channel. I'm sure she would appreciate it. Next up is Tor Gregory. He's one of my patrons. You should go check out his channel as well. Pretty fun stuff in here. He doesn't post a whole lot. It's been 3 weeks since his last post. But the stuff that he does post is good. So go check it out. He could use some more subscribers. So definitely go take a look at his stuff. It's pretty funny. He doesn't do playthroughs. He does like kind of skits, I would say. Good stuff. Definitely go take a look. So go do that. And then finally, of course, I have to talk about Tag. If you guys are watching my channel, you must go check out Tag, the Almighty Jeff. Sorry for the motorcycle going by. It is absolutely criminal that I have more subscribers than he does. His stuff is really good. I mean, it's so much better than mine. And so you definitely need to go check it out. He's got the same affliction as I do, if that's the right word, in that he 100% games. He's probably even more so than I do. He does some big ones. He did Skyrim. He's doing Witcher. He's done Witcher 1 and 2. He's doing Witcher 3 right now. Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2. We do a lot of the same games. We try not to do the same games at the same time, but sometimes it just works out that way. Right now, he's doing 2 games of the same as I'm doing, Red Dead Redemption 2 and Batman Arkham Knight. It just worked out that way. I think we try to avoid it, but if it happens, it happens. It's not a big deal. Yeah, definitely go check it out. He does half-hour videos, usually posts twice a day during the weekdays. So he does 10 videos a week, 5 games at a time, just the same way I do. It's basically almost the same format as mine, except I do 5 one-hour videos and he does 10 half-hour videos. Really, really good stuff. You need to go check out his videos. Excellent, super excellent guy, and a really good friend of mine. So we do all of our multiplayer stuff together. So yeah, definitely go check out his channel, please. He definitely should have. He should have like 10 times as many subscribers as he has. It's absolutely ridiculous that for some reason he's not growing as fast as he should. I'm not really sure. I realize that the 100% completion playthrough market is a little bit of a niche market, but he needs way more than that. It's absolutely absurd. So go check out his stuff. It's really good. Go watch his stuff. If you can only watch one channel, stop watching mine and go watch his. That's what I got to say about that. So anyway, yeah, go do that. Okay, guys, that's it. I think I'm done. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Again, if you have any questions about my process, let me know. I'm happy to answer anything. I will answer questions all day. You know, I'm happy to do so. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot. I will do my usual speech, I think. We're going to stop here. We will not pick this up in the next video because there is not going to be any next video unless I have to do a follow-up for some reason. Let me take a moment to thank my patrons. My $5 plus patrons are Michael Hilliard and Tor Gregory. You're going to see the details of my $3 and $1 plus patrons in the description below and at the end of this episode, respectively. Please do go take a look at those links in the description, guys. Go do that. Really good stuff in there, and you're going to want to go take a look. Thank you very much, gang. It's a huge help to this channel, and I do very much appreciate the assistance that you guys provide. So thank you ever so much for that. All right, y'all. We are going to stop here. I hope this has been helpful. I will see you in the gaming videos. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second to comment, like, and subscribe. All these things really help me out. I'd like to say a big thanks to all my patrons whose names are appearing on the screen right now. Thanks a lot, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more great content, consider joining my list of patrons. There's a link on the screen in the bottom left corner. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.